Yes, sir. Oh, I have another hour. That's right. Who is the maintenance guy here? I thought his name was Al Patton. Yes, of course. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I imagine it's either people are sick of the winter, or they're traveling somewhere, or they're sick of my preaching. Either one of those. I mean, I don't know. Pastor Mike is not. Well, it's good to see you, everybody. This morning we have a visitor today. This lady behind you, Kathy. What's her name? What's her name again? What's your name again, ma'am? Nancy. All right. Well, Nancy, it's good to see you here this morning. There are people actually, and I feel actually now bad because there are people that I've invited to come to church, and they're like, "I don't want to come because you're going to call me out." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am going to call you out." So they're not coming because of that. So I'm like, okay, I have to make promises, right, Anna? No, but it's good to see you all this morning. Appreciate you guys being here. If you are here, if you're new, if you're visiting this morning, we are the Spider Lake Church. This service is the 9 o'clock contemporary service. There's also other two services that happen here at Spider Lake Church. One over at the Spider Lake campus, which is 13 miles out of town, in the town of Spider Lake. And then there's another one here following our service at 11 o'clock. And that is a traditional service. If you are more into hymns and a little bit more liturgy and things like that, that's a good service for you to attend. There's always good messages there as well, and great people. And I just want to make sure that everybody that is here today, whether you're visiting or you haven't been around, and you're here this morning, we want to make sure that we continually bring the vision of Spider Lake Church before us every week. And that is the vision of Spider Lake Church is summed up in 3 E's. And I'm going to have you help me repeat those 3 E's. Now, you might think, oh, this is just getting repetitious, it's boring kind of thing. But if we keep that in the forefront of our minds, it's really important that as we live our lives, and Kathy, one of our sisters here, and she's part of the worship team, mentioned that there's a line in one of the songs that we're going to sing as far as waking up every morning and asking God to help us see life through the eyes of God. So be directed and be guided by that. And maybe some of you guys know about my father-in-law that he recently passed away, and yesterday we had his celebration of life. And one of the things that Pastor Heath Davis, who led the service, shared about his relationship with Mike, my father-in-law, he shared something that my father-in-law said in an email, and he said that one of his prayers every morning was to get up in the morning and say, God, how can my life today be a vessel for you to use? Like, lead and guide my life in a way that you can use. Like, my life is completely yours. I don't want to have anything to do with the plans. I want you to be the plans in my life. And so it's important that as a church, we know what we are about. So the E3 or the E cubed are 3 phrases that kind of sum up everything that we are. So we're going to say them together. And if you don't know them, you'll hear them loud and clear from everybody. All right. So first is every person a believer. Number 2, every believer a disciple. And correct. So that guides and should guide the way that we individually function, but also the way that we function as a church. That every person that we come in contact with will come to know Jesus through our lives. And another part of the song right here says that above and below me. That when people hear you, see you, watch you, that all that is communicated to them is, he is Jesus. Christ be all around me. So may that be our encouragement this morning and a reminder of who we are. And again, welcome. We're going to just kind of have a couple announcements here. And if Mike is going to help me just kind of like go through them real quick, there's plenty of them. I sure wish not to take much time, but guess what? Today I only have 13 slides. Only 13. So we've talked about this. The women of this church are wanting to get together and have a rebroadcast of the IF gathering. That is an international women's conference. And this conference is just full of amazing teaching. Most of it from other ladies, but there are some guys there as well. But it's just an amazing time of getting together, and especially for the women in this town, they're reaching out to everybody who wants to come. So if you have a friend that you think, hey, maybe they will enjoy gathering with other women and just kind of learning from God and learning from the Word, this is a great time. It's going to be here at the Main Street campus on Saturday, May 6th. And so just save the date and talk to, I think, Kathy and Corey. Or was it you, Corey? It's a team effort, but these two ladies right here are kind of leading it. So if you want to be part of it, make sure that you contact them and ask the details. Next, we have, well, you already know about Right Now Media resources, 20,000 videos, Bible studies, / all kinds of different things, even cartoons for the kids. So if you have a phone, it's on your bulletin. You can scan the QR code. It's free. You can join for free. And please make sure that you take advantage of it. Next, we have Good Friday service. We are in that season where we're going to be looking at Jesus's death and resurrection. And so we're going to have our regular Good Friday service here at the Main Street campus on April 7th at 6:30 p.m. All right. So if you want to come and just celebrate, join us in or mourning, I guess if you want to call it, or remembering the death of our Savior Jesus Christ, come and let's just have a time of reflection on what it did and what it cost. The youth center out there where the food shelf is needs a building maintenance volunteer. So if this here is needing someone to oversee repairs and coordinate with the repair, check light bulbs, appliances working, etc. There are contractors hired for snow blowing and grass mowing, so you don't need to do that. Just somebody to keep tabs. So if you're interested in doing that, you enjoy doing that, and you want more details, please come to any one of us. We'd like to inform you of what it all entails. Next. Last week, if you were here, our sister Stacy Clapero shared her story, her God sighting of something that God began to lay on her heart based on one of the many goofy and amazing sayings of Pastor Mike. A case of God broke out, and God would not let her sleep and woke her up in the middle of the night, giving her this phrase. And she finally asked God, and she was led to come up with these T-shirts where if you buy them, the money that we're going to get from them is going to go specifically to ministries of this church. One of them being Pastor Cyrus in Liberia that we have been supporting for the last year or so. So if you have any questions, you can ask her. There is a table out there with a sign-up sheet if you want a T-shirt. And then you can also ask her. She's right there. Stacy, can you raise your hand? There you go. There you go. That's Stacy. So this is a great thing, and it's a great way of witnessing. You know, when people say, what is that? Well, then you can tell them what it means, right? So next. Business after 5 on Thursday, March the 30th at Northwoods Community Food Shelf. They're just going to kind of give you a tour of the building, There's gonna be a 50-50 raffle, and all the information is there. It's also in your bulletin. Check it out, and it'll be probably a fun thing to do. And next, there's so many things happening here. Wow, that's crazy. There's a annual banquet for the New Life Northwoods New Life Resource Center. It's gonna be on April 27th at the Steakhouse and Lodge. It's $26 per ticket, and these guys are the people that are really providing a lot of resources for the pregnant people, pregnant women that they just don't know what to do. They're seeking direction. They're asking for help. New moms. They provide all kinds of clothing and kinds of different things. Just an amazing ministry. They're also mentoring families, young couples, individual women and men. It's just an amazing ministry, and so they will really appreciate your support. You get a really nice steak and a really nice dinner. You could hang out and get to know more about this ministry. So that's a good thing. Next. Oh, fish taco fundraiser. I didn't even know that was up there. So it's Friday, March 31st, from 4 to 6:30, and it's at the youth center again, the food shelf. There's the information. Make sure that if you like fish tacos, you come to that. It's going to be delicious. So next. Is that it? That's right. So I'm going to have the worship team come up, and we're going to begin our service, and you know the drill. So stand to your feet, and let's rock. All right. That's right. All right. King of Kings and Lord of Lords, His presence in this place. All right. These words are words that have come from the desire. Worship is not just music, it's not just song. Encouragement is that we won't think this is great, but that you will
to remind you to clap.
House of the Lord. Make sure that we rock it. In the house of the Lord. God, we thank you this morning. God, for being here with us. Lord, that it is your love. It is your
My God. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. This joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is truly in this place. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. We sing to the God who saves. We sing to the God who always makes a way. They hung up on that cross, and he rose up on that grave. My God still always shows the way. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is truly in this place. We won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. Let the house of the Lord be praised. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is truly in this place. We won't be quiet. We shout out your
We want to make sure that we move, not be
all around me, above and below, before and behind me, in every identity, mercy all around me. I go and endure. I desire by my side as I rise above God, all above. Bring me peace, bring me peace, all that belongs me. Before and behind me, in every identity, mercy all around me, above and below me, before and behind me, every identity, mercy all around Exactly.
Always. Good. Here. All right. Seems like everybody has had a chance now to say goodbye to as many people as you want to say hi to. Yes. Will do. Let's pray about it right now. Father, we thank you for the ministry that is done to the children, with the children, for the children, God. Realizing that the world that they are inheriting right now, it's a really complicated one. It's a world and a system that is full of lies and this, as we've never seen before, God. And they need the instruction of the Lord, need the pouring of your Spirit upon their hearts and minds to understand at an early age things that many of us adults have yet to understand. Thank you for the people that minister to them. God, thank you for the voices and the hearts that pour into them. And may we all realize the importance, the urgency, the need that there is for adults like us to invest in those lives, God, because otherwise they're going to be hearing those things. They're going to be hearing lies from media, social platforms, their friends, their teachers, this sadly demonic and wicked system that has been put upon them. We pray that their lives and their hearts will be illuminated and enlightened the knowledge of the truth of the gospel. We pray this. Before I move on, I think that today some people were planning on going to watch the Jesus Revolution movie. Is that correct? Kathy, at least, she's the one. Oh, and our visitor Nancy. That's great. But the Jesus Revolution movie is a story of a very interesting movement that happened back in the 70s at Calvary Chapel in LA, right? Am I correct? That area. It's a very encouraging movie. The guy from The Chosen, whatever Lumi, but Jonathan Rumi, he portrays one of the preachers, Lonnie Frisbee. What an interesting last name. But it's just a good opportunity to go hang out as a family, as a church. We can all go. Anyone is invited to go. I mean, you pay for it, obviously, or not being benevolent that way. But you're welcome to go. 12:30, I think, is showing. Am I correct? So let's just pack that place, man, if we can, and enjoy a movie together, an encouraging, uplifting movie. I was looking at my picture and I'm like, what? And I was like, I made that picture. I mean, I did that. Oh my goodness. But so the bait of Satan, that's the theme or the series that we're going through. And man, I tell you, it is the more I live my life and kind of things that the season that I'm personally going through, I see the power of this bait so deep. And it really is a dangerous bait to get hooked on, because it will bring destruction. It will bring division. It will bring death. It will bring sorrow. It will bring disappointment and hopelessness. And I already mentioned death, but ultimately it'll bring death. The bait of Satan will bring things to our lives that if we get hooked on it and don't get unhooked from it, it will kill us. It can be something so simple as something that people say to you that you get offended, or something a lot deeper and more dangerous as betrayal or abandonment or abuse when it comes to words that are actually meant to get deep into your heart, or somebody that you believed in and trusted, and then all of a sudden they did something that you weren't expecting. We already saw that last week about the expectations that we put on people that were close to us, and we're expecting them to love and to care and to all these things. And most of the time, these are the people the closest to us that will affect us. In this case, in the scripture that we're going to look at today, it's the story of Joseph. And boy, did he ever have reason to be offended at the people that were closest to him, which was his brothers, the ones that he grew up with. And I'm going to put this into a perspective of how is it that Joseph was able to keep his mouth shut, to look to Jesus or to God for everything that he needed, the comfort, the peace, the joy, to believe that God was there to defend him, to do justice on his behalf, without him having to raise a single fist or lift or say a single word or do any kind of effort, but to love Jesus and to love God and to have God being his most trusted thing. Everything around the people hurt him. People sold him. His brother sold him into slavery. There were all kinds of things. And when we read the passage that we're going to read today and the way he responded to his sibling, it looks impossible. It looks impossible to me to be able to do that. Let's read the story. It says, after burying Jacob, Jacob was the father of the 12 kids here, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had accompanied him to his father's burial. But now that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers became fearful. Now Joseph will show his anger and pay us back for all the wrong that we did to him, they said. So they sent this message to Joseph: before your father died, he instructed us to say to you, please forgive your brothers for the great wrong they did to you, for their sin in treating you so cruelly. So we, the servants of the God your Father, beg you to forgive our sin. When Joseph received the message, he broke down and wept. Then his brothers came and threw themselves down before Joseph and said, look, we are your slaves, they said. But Joseph replied, don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? And so when I stop there, like so close to me, like, who am I to judge you? It's like, what an amazing response. Like, how can Joseph said that, right? Am I God that I can take upon me the judging you, my siblings, and to ban you and shun you and hate you and throw you away from my life and hold this thing that you did over me and judge you for it? Who am I? And yet I do that. And we do that all the time. We think we have the right to cancel people because of what they have done to us. Do not give them another chance. There was nothing that his brothers did that was right or kind or nice. Nothing. I don't know that Joseph has had any experience that was good with it. Yet he told them, am I God that I can punish you? Well, he could punish. You intended to harm me. And I'm like, how can somebody think like that? What is at the core of a person? What kind of work has God done in a person that they can think that way? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. I can't be mad at you because even through what you did, God brought me and led me to this place where I am now sitting at the second highest level of power in Egypt. And this power that I have has saved you, has resulted in your saving, in my father's household saving, in the well-being of my people and the well-being of this country. I don't understand. But I pray. I pray that that will be my heart. Regardless of what happened. Regardless of the outcome of what it might look like. It's terrible and it's done and it's or it was painful or it's hurtful or whatever the outcome of the hurt that you have in your heart. However it left you. Maybe somebody took your money, all of your money, and cheated you out of business. And here you are, alone and poor and not knowing what you're going to do. And you want to raise your fist and you want to judge those people and you want to chase them so that they pay every single penny back. Well, who are you? And who am I that we will judge? The reason why I say that these songs are so important is because at some point it says, you are my defender. But is he? And do we trust him to be our defender? When somebody hurts us, when somebody takes something from us, when somebody's mean to us, somebody betrays us, and we look at things like Joseph and say, God, you are my defender. You will fight. Maybe, like I said, you lost things. Somebody has cheated you out of something. Maybe somebody, again, really, really hurt you, abused you. Even growing up. things that your parents said to you, the way that people treated you, bullied you, the people that rejected you, that wouldn't accept you, that called you names, that looked at your image and judged you by how you looked and how you sounded and things like that, the words that were told to you, or the words that you told other people, the way that you talk to other people, the way that you treat other people, that you're thinking, oh, that's just okay, I'm just joking, I'm just saying that. Words hurt. The Bible says that there's power of life and death in our tongues. What are you saying to people? What am I saying to people? How are we judging others? How are we condemning them? Now, for the most part, when we're offended, it's because of two possible things that are real to me, that are relevant to me. There might be many other things, but this is through what God is doing in my life that I filter this scripture. Our worldview is narrow and selfish. What does that mean? Hang on to that. Our worldview is very narrow and it's very selfish. And our identity is broken. We don't know who we are. It's a song that was sung at my father-in-law's funeral yesterday, and it's called I'm Your Beloved. But what does that mean? If you really believe that God is your beloved, that you are God's beloved, how does that play out in your life and in my life? How did it play out in Joseph's life? He knew that he was God's beloved. And that no matter what, God was holding him and he was for him regardless of anything that happened. He knew that God had his back, that God had his character, he had his integrity, he had the beautiful plans for his life, and he was orchestrating everything so that those plans would come to happen. And Joseph, the reason why he was able to do this is because he trusted that he was God's beloved. His identity was found in the love of God. He said, as long as I know that God loves me and that I am his beloved, I don't care what the world does to me because God is for me. That's powerful. And that's the way I want to live. When it says our worldview is narrow and selfish, it's because everything that we live through and everything that we go in life is filtered through what's in it for me. How does it bless me? How is it going to affect me? How is it going to benefit me? And when you look at life through that lens, believe me, you'll be betrayed and hurt and broken and offended every single day. I have the right of way. Why do you cut me off? Oh, really? And we get outraged and enraged because somebody took a right of way. How stupid is that? How childish and immature is that? I used to do that. A lot. The one time I learned my lesson. I got so enraged that I followed somebody honking my horn and flipping them off until that person finally stopped and got out of the car, and I was like, oh crap. I got back in, I darted out of there and he followed me. He was following me through the highway like a pursuit. And then he finally cornered me. I couldn't get out of this traffic jam that I was in. And I saw him getting out of the car and I thought, holy cow, how stupid. And the moment he was halfway towards my car, the car in front of me moved out and I was like, boom, I was just out of there. And I'm like, see you later, right? But never again did I do that to somebody. And you think, because it is funny, how childish we can be. Somebody's taking forever at the line. Oh my goodness, don't they know how hurry I am? Don't they know how busy I am? No, they don't. No, they don't. And it's not in their business to care about how late you are to something. And yet, we judge them. And we spew at them. We call them dumb, stupid, moronic, or whatever word comes to our minds. And we get enraged in our hearts and self-righteous. How could they? How dare they? You're in a restaurant and somebody gets there after you and they get their food before you. What's wrong with these waitresses and waiters? Don't they see me? I got here early. And man, do we make a big deal about it. This doesn't have enough salt. Well, just put some freaking salt on it. Come on, stop just complaining and whining about it. Oh, I don't like how it was cooked. Then go back to the stinking kitchen and cook it yourself. I mean, you're saying, yeah, I pay for it. Yeah, of course, you want to get something good, right? Get something bad. But if Mike is your cook, I promise you're going to have a good meal every. Going back to Joseph, though, I mean, seriously? Are you kidding me? God gives him a vision and a revelation of what's going to happen. And the first thing that happens when he shares this wonderful vision to his brothers, they put him in a holding thing and they're thinking about whether they're going to kill him. And somebody says, no, let's not kill him, let's just sell him. And they end up selling him as a slave somewhere else. Think about Joseph. He could have been like, oh, thanks, God, that was very funny. What about these dreams? Now I'm a slave. That's never going to happen. He never did that. Or at least we don't read about it. He gets sold into commander's, Egyptian commander person, Potiphar. And I don't know if Joseph was very good looking or the wife was just desperate. But she made advances to him. Hey, cutie. So she finally made the final advance of like holding on to him. And Joseph was like, the heck with this. Gone. Because he didn't want to fail God. His heart was so at peace and resting in the identity that God had given. And then he gets accused of getting frisky with Potiphar's wife. He gets thrown in jail. And while in jail, he helps somebody and he says, please remember me when you go out. And the guy gets freed and goes out and forgets about Joseph. How dare we think that we have it bad? Even if we have it that bad, to say that you have it as bad as Joseph did. He lost complete connection with his dad, comfort, home, mama's cooking, with the things that he used to do, his friends. Yet he did not say one word. Trusted God. How about you? How about me? What's our response? Time. What do you have going on that's really hurtful? People who live in the way of narrow-mindedness and selfish, they always process things through the lens of what's in it for me. How's it going to affect me? I already said that. Will I come out on top? Will it help me and benefit me? Will it make my life easier and better? Just that this kind of thinking leads to a filtering every word and action people have toward us as either for us or against. People either want to best for us or are out there to hurt us and attack us and destroy us. We easily forget that the word tells us in Ephesians 6:12, for our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness of this world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly place. Then again in John 10:10 says, the thief comes only to steal, to kill, and to destroy. We have an enemy, and that enemy is hell-bound or hell-bent in making us not trust God and trust ourselves. Trust our own judgment, trust our own feelings, trust our own emotions. Have you heard that the dumbest saying that is probably the most popular saying out there, trust your heart? Trust your heart. You read David's prayer? Search me and know me, because there's stuff in there that I have no idea about. I don't know. I think I'm doing okay, and I will share this. I shared it with the worship team this morning. One of the craziest things about my dad passing away and my father-in-law passing away is that they looked healthy. On the outside, they looked healthy. They did things that they thought was good for them to be healthy, and they were good things. And so you might think that you go to church and you're volunteering and you're reading and you're praying or whatever thing it is, and you're looking healthy. And people might look around and look at you and be like, oh man, look at how happy he is or how happy she is. And wow, it doesn't seem like anything phases him, or blah, blah, this and that. And yet inside, there's a cancer that is eating them away, and it's eating me away, and it is eating us away. And that cancer is all those things that we've held on, that we have not allowed God to come and touch and heal. I believe that if both my dad and my father-in-law would have known that they had cancer at the beginning, they would have done everything possible to make sure that that cancer was not going to spread anywhere, and that they had all the tools and resources necessary to take care of that cancer and get rid of it. And as far as their bodies go, it was too late. Please ask God in prayer, what's my cancer? What are the cancers in my heart that will bring death to my relationships, that will bring death to my marriage, that will bring death to my children, that will bring death to my friendships, that will bring death to my future, that will bring death to my everything? What are the cancers, God? Show me. Because it might just look like you are healthy, but you're not. It's a lesson that I take. So, do you look nice on the outside? But you're sick on the inside? Do you even know that you are? I think Joseph probably prayed these prayers all the time, like David did. God, I have no clue why this person would do this to me, but I know you're my defender, and I don't want these things to become wounds in my heart that are so infected that they begin to ooze out all this pus and blood and yuckiness, and they start infecting everything, and they spread all through my organs until the moment that I cannot longer take a breath without aching. I cannot longer wake up every morning and fake it anymore because I'm hurting. Because I'm hating somebody, because I don't seem to be able to restore this relationship, or I'm mad at this person that cheated and took all my money, or whatever. And this view also causes us to miss out on God's truth and promises. It blinds us to the truth of who God is. And it leads us to fend for ourselves and fight our own battles and to figure out things ourselves and fail time and time again. That's when our narrow view is very selfish, and the worldview is narrow and selfish. And the second one, their identity is broken, that it says, the word tells us that those who fear have not known yet love fully. True love. We're always afraid because we don't know ourselves to be loved. So we're always fearing that people will abandon us, or that people will betray us and stuff like that. And Joseph thought about this and said, who cares? They did. They betrayed me. They abandoned me. They rejected me. They hated me. They sold me. They accused me. They misunderstood me. They forgot me. They left me to rot and to die. He knew his identity. We are always afraid and frail and weak and suspicious and vulnerable, and we are in pain and in sorrow. We grow up feeling unprotected and unwanted, not good enough, flawed, ugly, shameful, dumb. People made us feel that way, and we learned that that was our identity. But we have a God who considered us so worthy and valuable that he was willing to give up his own son as a sacrifice for us to bring us back to him. So in Joseph's life, he understood that. And that is where the story takes place. If he didn't understand these things, he could have easily been bitter and angry, salty, sour, hateful, and with many grudges towards both God and his family. His story really sucks until later in his life. He had plenty of reasons to be angry and bitter, to hold grudges towards God and his family. And then his brothers come and say, our father said before he died to come and tell you to please don't be mean to us. His father didn't say that. You go back to the Bible and you read through the story, and there's not one clear statement from Jacob that said, please tell your brother Joseph to take care and look after you and to not hold a grudge or unleash his anger and rage towards you when I pass so as to honor my name. That was a lie that the brothers there, because they were afraid that Joseph was going to act like every other human would have probably acted. But Joseph was different. And when Joseph read, he wept. Why do you think he wept? Why he wept? Anyone? Well, it wasn't true. How did that make him? Why did he? But because he loved them and he was going to forgive them no matter what. So even though it hurt them that they had to revert to this kind of trickery, he felt in his heart so hot, so sad and broken for the first. That's the fact that he wept. He knew that they were untrue, that they were tricking him into protecting them, which made him think they still don't know that I already forgave them. They still don't know, they haven't trusted that above and below me, before and behind me, and at every angle that they have seen my life, they can see Jesus all around me. They still are blind, Dad. And he wept. And he responded completely different. Joseph saw through a different lens and a different worldview. He believed that what God had promised him at his early age, God would bring it to pass, and no matter how long it took. So you and I might be looking at our life right now thinking, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why does it seem like everything is falling apart? You know what? I don't know. Are you there? Have you been there? I'm there. So what is going to be my response? Trust God? Right? So I trust him that my family is going to be okay. Children are going to be okay. My partner is going to be, marriage is going to be okay. And if it's not, I still trust him that at some point it will. I love the fact that we go through these things because they touch home. So that I get to share this with you as I go through things as well. So that you know that we're on this fight together. That these are principles and truths that are meant to transform us and to change us. That this is not a church playing around, playing church or trying to preach a good message so that you feel good or that people say good things or This is real life. Some people here have gone through it. Pastor Mike just went through it not too long ago, and he had to learn how to process all of these things like Joseph. And whether he has learned or not, I believe that's his heart. And I've heard him, and I've shared life with him, and I've met with other people that are going through the same thing, or have gone through the same thing, or are preparing for going through the same thing of having to be standing on the fence and saying, am I going to hate and despair and go crazy, or am I going to hang on to Christ like for dear life, regardless of no matter what? Just like Joseph did. This is a lesson for us. Our worth and our value come from him. The only opinion that should matter is God. Who does he say I am? And what does he think of me? And how does he feel about me? Somebody else might have completely written you off and said, I'm done. Or you might have said that to somebody and said, I'm done. But that person's worth and value, their true identity, comes from what God says that they are. I might look at Dan right there and remember all these bad things that Dan has done, and I might peg you for being a whatever, all the negative things that I could come up with. And yet, if you know that God has redeemed you, and you hear from God saying, I am his beloved, then my opinion is nothing. And you should not place your worth and value on my opinion, but on who God says it is. And the same goes to all of us. Whether that is being done to you or you're doing it to somebody else, you have to understand that we have the need to look at people through the eyes of God. Because if you're still looking at people for what they've done to you in the past, regardless of whether they changed or not, if you're looking at them through the eyes of a narrow worldview and a selfish one, guess what? You'll be a slave to those feelings for the rest of your life. No matter if you move to Timbuktu, they'll follow you. I already said all of this. Am I to take the place of God? Only God can judge and repay, not us. That's what true trust looks like. And this heart's attitude led him, Joseph, to not only forgive, but to also love and to provide. I mean, talk about a supernatural, powerful, out of this world, divine attitude. Not only did he forgive them, he could have been like, I forgive you, but I am done with you. I forgive you, but I don't ever want to see you again. I forgive you, but I can never be in a relationship with you. He didn't say that. He said, I forgive you, and don't worry, because I am still going to take care of you and provide for you and your children. I don't know what the Christian church in general sometimes is looking at when we look at the Bible and we look at all these stories and all these characters. And I don't know why there's not a more urgent call for us to stop playing games and to get real about our faith. These were people that made mistakes just like us. They were humans just like us. And yet they achieved a level of faith and spirituality that was supernatural and divine, that caused God to consider them worthy of mentioning them in his holy book for us to look at. I've always thought, if God were to write another Bible, would my story make it there? Would my story make it there? And not so that I can be proud of myself, but would my story bring glory to him? That's how I want to live my life. Take home point. I think they're probably actually worthless after message. What's your worldview based on? Are you secure in your God-given identity? What are the filters that you look at life through? Can you see the bigger picture, or do you see how God is in control no matter what, and no matter how long, and no matter how difficult? Is your world all about your own comfort and you and your safety and your security? And do you process everything with a what's in it for me attitude? And do you see people as your enemy, or do you understand the spiritual battle? And lastly, can you dare to aspire to have a heart like Joseph when it comes to what people do to you, how they treat you, how they behave towards you? Or how do you do that to others? Right. Father, we thank you for this scripture. That's so real. That is so true. And that we will be the dumbest, stupidest, foolish people to not heed these words. God, you've given us the word of God in these examples and scriptures for us to long for them and to understand what real faith and real surrender to you and real response to your spirit and to your promise and to your character are like. Would we hold each other accountable, Lord? Would we love like Joseph did? Would we learn to trust you with our identity like Joseph? Would we stop playing games and get deep with? Would we cut the hook that has baited us and be free from all of this weight of shame and guilt and pride and arrogance and filth, and run to your freedom, God? Run to your healing. Run to your. May we all come to you and say, God, would you reveal the cancers that are killing us inside our heart? So God, we thank you and we give you the rest of this week and commit our ways to you. Amen. Well, remember 12:30, Jesus Revolution. Yes. Oh, the youth group is going to the. Oh, no.